It's not that easy to be an Elvis fan if you want to have a more or less complete set of Elvis records. When Elvis Presley left us in 1977, there had been around, well, over I think 60 official albums released by RCA from 1956 to 1977. In 21 years, around 60 albums, maybe even more. I don't know the exact number, but it's an amazing amount of albums. Also lots of live albums, also lots of soundtracks and compilation albums. And often you got the idea that the people of RCA had no idea what they were doing. It's as if they really just thought, okay, Elvis Presley, he sells lots of records. Let's make sure there are loads of records for the record buying audience. Let's take that track there, let's take that track, put it all together. What about a common theme for the album? Like, no, we don't need that, The Elvis fans don't care. Don't bother with that. And today the Elvis albums that are usually most warmly spoken about are those with a certain kind of theme, like From Elvis in Memphis, How Great Thou Art, the Comeback album from 1968, and Elvis Country in a sense. But apart from those, and now we talk about the late 60s and 70s issues, not talking about the early 50s or the 50s issues and so on. It's like they just took whatever tracks were available and put it together into an album. Doesn't really matter whether the tracks fit well together or if even Elvis sound as if he is awake singing them. I mean, it's a total madness. I have here a bunch of Elvis records. I think it is around 30 albums. I think so at least. And these are albums that were made and issued between 1969 to 1973 in 5 years, 6 years, 5 years. All these were issued. And this is not even a complete set. There are some records missing here. What do we have? Well, we have the studio albums. Oh yeah, we have the famous Comeback album from '68. We have the Masterpiece from Elvis in Memphis. And we have live albums like In Person and Back in Memphis and On Stage from '69 and '70. What do we more have? Here, yeah, here's the country album. We have a Christmas album and different studio albums like Now. We have a gospel album, He Touched Me. More live albums, Madison Square Garden. More studio albums, Love Letters. More live albums, Aloha from Hawaii. And this is the one they recorded with the Stax musicians, Raised on Rock, For Old Time's Sake. So, again, we talk about records that were issued in a period of 5 years. And not just that. They also thought, well, what about we could reissue some of the old material from the 60s again in new albums on the RCA budget label, Camden. Yeah, very good idea. And it started with Elvis Sings Flaming Star. That was first issued I think, as some sort of promo for Singer sewing machines, because it was first issued on the normal RCA Victor label as Singer Presents Elvis Sings Flaming Star. And it is a budget label because it has a shorter playing time than the regular Victor records. And then they thought, well, what a good idea, we could issue this on the budget label. And this is one of the albums that I had as a kid, so I have a certain love for it. But it's a really weird set of songs from all different kinds of years and movies, and we have like Wonderful World from Live a Little, Love a Little. We have the Yellow Rose of Texas, and then we have the rock tunes like Tiger Man and She's a Machine. I think Tiger Man is from the comeback in 1968. And also Flaming Star was, I think, from a movie from the early 60s. Yeah. And then they made a reissue of the Christmas album from the 50s with some other tracks as well, including Mama Like the Roses from the American Record Sessions, that has no Christmas theme whatsoever. So yeah. And then Almost in Love, also on the Camden label, even though this is on the international label, but in many of the Camden labels were in Europe, issued on the RCA International. And here we got the really cool songs like Rubberneckin' and the almost psychedelic Edge of Reality, and the song that would much later become a bit of a hit when they have remixed it, A Little Less Conversation. But also we have Long-Legged Girl with His Short Dress On and My Little Friend. And it's such a weird mix. Nothing holds together here. And then Let's Be Friends from 1970. This is the Camden album that I really like deep within, but that's because I have some nostalgic memories to it, because I was given it by my grandparents as a kid on a cassette, on a Spanish pressed, a Spanish issue. It was called Seamos Amigos, Let's Be Friends. So this is one that I really like, but it's more nostalgia than anything else. It's still a weird compilation of songs like Stay Away Joe, and then the quite cool pop song Change of Habit, and the country songs like If I'm a Fool, and Let's Forget About the Stars. We have some good tracks. Okay, then we have Elvis Sings Hits from His Movies, Volume 1. But we have movies. He made movies in the mainly 50s and 60s, but he's wearing a concert outfit from the 70s. So we have hits from the movies Frankie and Johnny, It Happened at the World's Fair, Clam Bake, and Double Trouble. And to call them hits, Down by the Riverside and When the Saints Go Marching In, Long-Legged Girl with a Short Dress On, again, How Would You Like to Be? Yeah, and we have two tracks that they are added, single tracks, Guitar Man and Big Boss Man, which the two tracks that makes this album a bit listenable, even though they weren't in any movie, but they were hits. So they were hits, but they weren't from his movie. Oh, it's... Now we come to the next real weirdness here. In 1972, Elvis had one of his biggest hits, Burning Love. And I think the smartest idea, I would think, would have been to release this single on one of the regular albums on the RCA Victor label. What did he do in 1972? Maybe on the Now album, maybe? I think that's from 1972, not sure. Good place for that album? No. They decided to make hits from his movies, Volume 2. and adding Burning Love to that. So we have Burning Love and hits from his movies, Volume 2. So we have Burning Love, the big hit, and then we have songs from some of his movies like Guadalajara, with lots of dogs barking, from Fun in Acapulco, Santa Lucia from Viva Las Vegas, and as I said, they start this budget album, because remember, it's a budget album, and they put the big hit on a budget album, not on the regular Elvis albums on RCA Victor, but on this budget RCA Camden. How did they think? I can't understand. Yeah. Okay, another Camden issue. Note that they almost all of them have the same sleeve. They have Elvis in a white jumpsuit from one of his concerts in the early 70s. Same here. Same here. I got lucky. But the material is from the 60s mainly. So, okay, and yeah, here's he made some gospel albums too, and he also made a budget gospel album called You'll Never Walk Alone. Yeah, here's US Mail, another budget album that contains well, 2 songs that we already heard on the album Let's Be Friends, If I'm a Fool for Loving You, and Let's Forget About the Stars, and Almost in Love from the Almost in Love album, and Let's Be Friends, yeah, I said that maybe, and Burning Love from this budget album, but now it's on this budget album as well. And then in 1973 Elvis had another bit of a minor hit, but still a hit, called Separate Ways. And also he had a bit of a hit with the song Always on My Mind. Did he issue it on the regular RCA Victor album? No. No, no. He issued it on an RCA Camden album called Separate Ways. And then what do we have apart from Separate Ways and Always on My Mind? Well, we have songs like Sentimental Me and Old Shep, which I think was a song that was on one of his first RCA albums back in the 1950s. So, no. Oh, and so the interesting thing with Elvis, when he died too young, 42 years old in 1977, unlike many other artists who die young, there are lots of material that hasn't been released, but they have released it later. There weren't that much unreleased material, if we don't talk about recordings from concerts and so on, but with studio material when Elvis died. So RCA couldn't really make that many more albums with Elvis after his death, right? Because he died and they had already issued everything he had done or recorded, or even been close to record. They had already issued it on 60 albums. So, of course, it was the end of the Elvis discography when he passed away in 1997, right? No. Old material keeps getting reissued and reissued and reissued and put together into new compilations and new theme. Let's say those who are in charge with the Elvis Presley estate, they are very fond of money. They are very fond of selling records, aren't they? So that's why I said that it's not easy being a fan of Elvis Presley and a record collector. That's it for now. Bye bye.